The price of being the fastest growing, what Black women entrepreneurs are really paying welcome to soft girl era, the sacred space where strong Black women unlearn survival, rediscover softness, and reclaim the joy, rest, and freedom they deserve. I'm your host, Leanne Dolce, pronounced Dolce like sweet softness whispered in French. And I'm your guide from burnout to boundaries, from doing to being, from strong to soft and loving every second of it. Today, I had the incredible honor of sitting down with Tiffany Gilbert, a visionary advocate researcher and champion for Black women entrepreneurs across North America. Tiffany's work is nothing short of transformative. She's dedicated her life to shining a light on the systemic barriers that keep Black women locked out of funding, mentorship, and the support networks they desperately need to thrive. Her insights challenge us to look beyond the headlines celebrating Black women as the fastest growing group of entrepreneurs and ask ourselves, like, at what cost? Tiffany is making the world a better place by refusing to let us celebrate progress without confronting the truth of what it takes to get there. And today, I'm going to share with you the powerful, eye opening insights from our conversation. Let me start with something that might surprise you. We've all heard the narrative, right? Black women are starting businesses at record rates. We're told this is a triumph, a sign of empowerment and resilience. And yes, there is triumph in it. But here's what Tiffany shared with me that stopped me in my tracks. Despite being celebrated as the fastest growing group of entrepreneurs in North America, the vast majority of Black women are still forced to self fund their businesses, often up to $100,000, because systemic barriers keep them locked out of traditional funding, mentorship, and support networks. Let that sink in for a moment. While the world applauds the entrepreneurial spirit of Black women, they are carrying a disproportionate personal and financial burden. The ecosystem designed to support women entrepreneurs, the one we're told is inclusive and empowering, often fails to address the unique needs of Black women. So, yes, we're starting businesses, but we're doing it alone with our own money, our own sweat, our own tears, and often our own breaking points. Tiffany walked me through insights that I want you to hold on to because they matter. They matter for every Black woman listening who's ever felt invisible in spaces that claim to see her. They matter for every ally who wants to do better. And they matter because until we confront these truths, nothing will change. The first truth is this: funding disparities are real and they are persistent. Black women founders receive a minuscule share of venture capital. We're talking crumbs. And when they can't access venture capital, they turn to loans only to face higher denial rates than their white counterparts. So, what do? They rely on personal savings, they drain their own accounts, they take on personal risk that no one else has to carry. And this doesn't just limit business growth, it impacts the economic potential of entire communities. Let me share some numbers with you because numbers don't lie. When researchers surveyed over 1,500 Black women founders across Canada, what they found was staggering. 63% of them had to self fund up to $100,000 just to start their businesses. 43% couldn't secure any external funding at all, not a single dollar, not one investor willing to take a chance, not one bank willing to say yes. These women, many of whom hold bachelor's degrees or higher, 58% to be exact, were told in 1,000 different ways that their dreams weren't worth the investment. And here's the kicker: in the United States, if Black women owned businesses reached revenue parity with white women, they could add $409 billion annually to the economy. 409 billion. That's not just a loss for Black women. That's a loss for all of us. That's innovation we'll never see. That's jobs that will never be created. That's generational wealth that will never be built. That's communities that will remain underserved. And that's a future that we're collectively choosing to forfeit. Think about what $100,000 means. For most people, that's a down payment on a home. That's a child's college fund. That's retirement security. That's the safety net that allows you to take risks without fear of losing everything. But for Black women entrepreneurs, that $100,000 is what they're expected to gamble just to get in the door, just to prove they're serious, just to earn the right to be considered. And even when they make it, even when they self fund and bootstrap and sacrifice and build something extraordinary, they're still operating at a disadvantage. Because while they were draining their savings accounts, their competitors were raising millions. While they were working three jobs to keep their business afloat, others were hiring teams and scaling rapidly. While they were choosing between paying themselves or paying for inventory, others were attending conferences, building networks, and securing their next round of funding. The second truth Tiffany shared is that the support ecosystem often excludes Black women. Even in women focused entrepreneurial spaces, Black women frequently feel marginalized. Programs and networks that are supposed to uplift women entrepreneurs don't address the intersectional challenges of race and gender. They're designed with one woman in mind, and she's usually white. So Black women show up to these spaces hoping for connection, for mentorship, for resources, and instead they find themselves on the outside looking in. Again, let me tell you about an organization in Canada called the Black Women Collective. They're doing the work to change this. They provide education, mentorship, and financial literacy programs specifically for Black women entrepreneurs. They're creating the culturally relevant support that mainstream organizations fail to provide. They understand that when a Black woman walks into a room, she's not just carrying her business plan. She's carrying the weight of every stereotype, every microaggression, every door that's been slammed in her face. She's carrying the responsibility of representing her entire community. She's carrying the pressure to be twice as good to get half as far. The Black Women Collective gets that. They create space where Black women don't have to explain their experiences or justify their existence, where they can be vulnerable without being judged, where they can ask for help without being seen as weak, where they can dream without being told to be realistic. But here's the challenge: their reach is limited. Most programs are concentrated in major cities, leaving rural and small town entrepreneurs underserved. And even with virtual programs, the gap remains wide. The collective is advocating for more inclusive, intersectional support structures, but they're fighting an uphill battle. Because the truth is, the system wasn't built with Black women in mind. And until we rebuild it, Black women will continue to be left out. Think about what it means to walk into a networking event where everyone looks different than you, where the conversations revolve around country clubs and vacation homes and connections you don't have, where the advice given assumes you have access to resources you've never had, where the success stories shared don't reflect your reality. That's the experience of too many Black women entrepreneurs. They're told to lean in, to speak up, to take up space. But when they do, they're labeled aggressive. They're told they're too much. They're reminded in subtle and not so subtle ways that they don't belong. The third truth, and this one hit me hard, is that motherhood brings additional, often invisible challenges. Black women who are mothers face unique obstacles that compound the already significant hurdles of entrepreneurship. Childcare demands limit their ability to attend networking events, travel for investor meetings, or work the long hours that startup culture demands. Many are single mothers, which makes it even harder. And here's something that doesn't get talked about enough: Black mother entrepreneurs are also navigating their children's experiences with systemic racism. They're not just building businesses, they're protecting their children, advocating for them, and carrying the emotional weight of a world that doesn't always see their babies as worthy. The research highlighted stories of Black mother entrepreneur RHers who are leveraging remote work tools and virtual networking to stay connected, but who still struggle because in person events remain crucial for building investor relationships. They're doing everything they can to make it work, but the lack of targeted support for mother entrepreneurs continues to hinder their business growth and personal well being. Imagine this: you're preparing for the biggest pitch of your life, the investor meeting that could change everything. But the night before, your child comes home from school in tears because a teacher made a racist comment, or because they were followed around a store, or because they were told their natural hair violated the dress code. And now you have to choose. Do you comfort your child and process this trauma with them? Or do you focus on your pitch and hope they'll be okay until you get home? That's the reality for Black mother entrepreneurs. They're not just balancing work and family, they're balancing survival and success. They're trying to build generational wealth while simultaneously protecting their children from generational trauma. They're trying to create a better future while dealing with the pain of the present. And yet, despite all of this, they keep going. They keep building. They keep showing up. 44% of Black women entrepreneurs surveyed were in the growth phase of their business. They're not just surviving, they're thriving, but at what cost? Now, I want to take a moment to connect this back to what we talk about here on Soft Girl Era, because this isn't just about entrepreneurship. This is about survival mode. This is about Black women who have been taught to carry the weight of the world on their shoulders, to be strong, to never complain, to make it work no matter what. And they do. They make it work. But at what cost? Tiffany's work is a mirror. It's showing us that even in spaces where we're celebrated, we're still being asked to do more with less. We're still being asked to prove ourselves. We're still being asked to carry burdens that no one else has to carry. And that, my friends, is not softness. That's survival. And survival is exhausting. So, how do we shift from survival to softness? How do we create a world where Black women entrepreneurs don't have to self fund $100,000 just to get started? How do we build support systems that actually see us, that actually meet us where we are, that actually address the intersectional challenges we face? It starts with acknowledging the truth. It starts with saying out loud that the system is broken, that the funding gap is real, that the support ecosystem is failing Black women, that motherhood adds layers of complexity that are too often ignored. And then it requires action, real, tangible, concrete action. Here's what I need you to understand: this isn't just about fairness, this isn't just about equity, this is about economic survival, this is about innovation, this is about the future we're building together. When we exclude Black women from funding, we're not just hurting them, we're hurting ourselves. We're limiting our collective potential. We're saying no to ideas that could change the world. We're choosing scarcity over abundance. And here's the uncomfortable truth: we've gotten really good at celebrating Black women's resilience while doing nothing to address the conditions that require that resilience in the first place. We applaud them for bootstrapping while refusing to give them access to capital. We praise them for being strong while denying them the support that would allow them to be soft. We admire their determination while maintaining the barriers that make their journey so much harder than it needs to be. That has to stop, because Black women don't need more praise for their resilience. They need resources, they need funding, they need mentorship, they need networks, they need childcare. They need rest. They need softness. They need a world that meets them where they are, not where it thinks they should be. So here's my challenge to you: if you're an investor, I want you to examine your portfolio. How many Black women have you funded? How many have you even met with? How many pitch decks have you actually read? And if the answer is none or not enough, I want you to ask yourself why. What assumptions are you making? What biases are you holding? What opportunities are you missing? If you're a program director or work in entrepreneurial support, I want you to look at your participants. Are Black women represented? Are their specific needs being addressed? Are you creating space for conversations about race and motherhood and systemic barriers? Or are you pretending that all women face the same challenges and offering one size fits all solutions that don't actually fit anyone? If you're a mentor or advisor, I want you to reach out. Find a Black woman entrepreneur and offer your time, your expertise, your network. Make introductions, open doors. Use your privilege and your platform to create opportunities that wouldn't otherwise exist. And if you're a Black woman entrepreneur listening to this, I see you. I see the weight you're carrying. I see the sacrifices you're making. I see the dreams you're building with your own two hands. And I want you to know that you don't have to do this alone. You deserve support. You deserve funding. You deserve mentorship. You deserve rest. You deserve softness. And you deserve a world that meets you where you are, not where it thinks you should be. Tiffany Gilbert's work is a call to action. It's a reminder that progress isn't just about numbers, it's about equity, it's about justice, it's about creating a world where Black women don't have to choose between their dreams and their well being, where they don't have to drain their savings just to get a seat at the table, where they don't have to prove their worth over and over again. So here's my final question for you. And I want you to really sit with this. What is one concrete step you will take today, not tomorrow, not next week, not when it's convenient, but today to help create a more inclusive and supportive ecosystem for Black women entrepreneurs? Will you write a check? Will you make an introduction? Will you examine your biases? Will you create a program? Will you mentor someone? Will you amplify a voice? Will you invest? Will you advocate? Will you show up? Because here's the truth: change doesn't happen by accident. It happens when we decide that the status quo is no longer acceptable. It happens when we choose to show up, to speak up, to act. And it happens when we refuse to celebrate progress without confronting the cost. Black women deserve better. Not someday, not eventually, now. And the question is, what are you going to do about it?